Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, August 7th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Thursday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame right now. We have hit the FOMC key level from last Wednesday, the 30th. Price went offered on Thursday. Impulse moved down Friday. Bounce back Monday, which gives us a new key range. Back-to-back narrow range days here, 60 points, 62.5 here, 60 again here, and now we got 60 again today. So very, very uniform amount of pricing here the last three sessions, all around that 60, 62, 64 points per day. And now, like I've mentioned before, to get the key range so quickly with minimal damage to the chart here, that's actually quite bullish here, or at least staves off major selling pressure right away. And the thought was, if it finds that mid here, we could even find the new high up ahead before maybe the next move down occurs, or that new high could extend and keep this thing going to the upside, given that the trend has been very, very bullish. This two-day pullback is right in line with the pullbacks we've seen since the April lows there. So this is very, very bullish overall. However, got to be able to find acceptance through that FOMC key level to open up new highs. So have we gone as far as we're going to go today? Again, we've been averaging about 62 points per day over the last 3 days, and we're there right now. So for the most part, we may have a lot of the early part of the range in, but can we see further extension to the upside early on? Keep an eye on 6,400. That's where intraday VWAP is. Intraday slope right now is bullish. If bulls can keep that thing bid, we may have a shot to continue to quietly extend higher here toward new all-time highs as this market remains rather buoyant. Looking at the NQ here, this one's up 0.7% right now. 254 points of range, and also outside day up yesterday, failed new low, outside day up, and then a continuation with a minimal overlap here of the previous session's range, already pushing higher. The expectation yesterday was that we may fall a little deeper, perhaps into the previous month's close, and then bounce off the level in a very bullish scenario. So we just missed out on that pullback there. That pullback was only modest, and now continuing higher through the FOMC key level. And like we said here, big pullback, but a quick bounce back to the midpoint that opens the door to perhaps a new high up here for a retest. So at the very least, we could be looking at new highs over the next couple of few days, maybe perhaps even into Friday, as this week has been mostly up. You had a big bounce back here Monday, a hold Tuesday, outside day up Wednesday, and now continuing Thursday. We may close this thing on new highs on a Friday and then see what happens next week. Do we float back down, or are we seeing further expansion? So very strong overall until proven otherwise, and currently making a move for the recent highs. Looking at crude oil, we got into our zone yesterday. The zone we mentioned was being patient for the 63 to 64 zone. Could we drop into 63 to 64 and find rejection? And prices right here, big time rejection of the previous session's highs, outside day down, a big time drop into 63, 64 as the low, and then late in the session, a modest rejection started to develop there. That modest rejection led to a decent bounce back to 65s, and we've been holding ever since. Not quite a key range move. The midpoint here from the previous session is 65.19, and today's high is currently 65.11. So if we get 8 more pennies beyond the current high, we get ourselves a really, really nice key range. That key range is basically the entire range of yesterday's session, and that range is $3.11. Remember, this market has only been averaging about $1.20 back here, then $1, a little bit more than that, $1.90. This is $3.11. That's a great key range. You break through the highs, you rally $3.11 to the upside target. Same thing if you were to break to the downside, but of course we're in big time support zone right now. And the thought was if we dropped into new lows here, we could see an opportunity to snap this thing back to the middle and perhaps even new highs into about 70, half to 71, as this market perhaps builds even a range or perhaps extends beyond that. So this is a very important zone here. Keeping an eye on this area. And can we get 65.19 for that midpoint and the new key range? All right, let's look at gold futures here. 0.8% higher. 0.8% higher, and 3 days of built up energy for this push through 34.50. This is what we were talking about earlier in the week. Right here on Friday, big time rally when the whole market dropped. We wondered out loud if that was going to be an indication that this thing was going to rally this month. And the fact that we held here at these highs, we knew we were building that energy to try and muster the strength through 34.50. 34.50, big time resistance. You can see it back here. It's been evident for a long time that that's resistance. And we noted it even on the first time. On the first rejection here, the next one up, got to watch 34.50 down. On the next rotation up, got to watch that zone back down here, back down here, back down. So it's been a level ever since the first rejection into that level in April. Can we finally push through? If not, another rotation back down as this market continues to build energy here for the eventual rally. I did mention that the eventual breakout would not only break through 34.50, but it would likely push beyond 3,500 and close beyond it. It would be a massive day along those lines. So if we don't get there today, then obviously this is still kind of very much in line with some of the rotations we've seen here recently. So tomorrow could be a fade back down, for example. All right, looking at the YM, up 0.4%. Now this one right here has been tremendous in its channeling behavior. Right here, we noted that there's 3,000 points of range coming, and we got almost a perfect 3,000 point move. Now we have a similar range here that's developed. We have an even stronger low down here to work from, and now this thing's building energy. Do we get the next 3,000 point move up off of these lows? That low right there around 43.5-ish, 43.4 and change. So we're looking for 46.5 and change or thereabouts, and looking for that market to rotate into that zone, especially off these recent lows. Now you fail at these recent lows, and now that really opens up the next drop into 41K. So these lows very, very important right now, and the fact that we're holding it suggests that we may actually build out of this range and break to the upside, especially if we can find acceptance above the previous week's midpoints, which we currently are in the intraday charts. That would point to the previous week's highs, and especially if we can find acceptance to the previous month's midpoints. That opens things up as well. So keep an eye on those levels for the YM and also the ES and NQ. Let's look at Bitcoin here, up 0.8% right now. Really, really good strength here off of the morning lows. A strong turnaround this morning right there. We had this pullback in a 3-day hold, and now this is a pretty solid check mark move higher. We are finding a little bit of intraday resistance here at the previous month's close price, but keep in mind, in an uptrending market, any pullback below the previous month's close offers an opportunity for bulls to defend, absorb any sellers, and then look to run the upside stops. So if price can start breaking back above that black dotted line, things really, really open up for new highs up ahead here in Bitcoin. The flip side of that is breaking down and coming up to reject that level and not being able to get through would suggest new lows. So this zone, very, very important as we head into the latter part of the week. But overall, the uptrend here, are we building for an eventual rotation higher off this right edge here? Up like this, like we did here up, like we did here up. Are we building for that rotation up? And again, if we can hang in there and keep 120 bid, 119.5 bid here, you have a shot to really work your way through 125K up above. Ethereum, even stronger right now. Look at this thing. It looks like the next rotation could be coming out as well. We talked about the potential to hold 3,400, and if so, one market structure distribution into 4,000, and the next one into 4,600 might be next. Are we headed to 4,600 in ETH? This is a big time potential here. Nice compression, enough juice to get you there. This is looking strong right now, up nearly 4.5% is ETH. Are we headed to 4,000 and 4,600 over the next couple of weeks? Looking to see how it plays out here. And you can see again, previous month's close right here. Any price below it to begin the month is where bulls want to defend and absorb sellers, and then you want to run those stops through for new highs up ahead. So this is looking quite strong, especially if it can hang on throughout the rest of the session. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the day. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.